Hey YouTube, my name is Marita, and welcome to another edition of the Nurse Lounge. And today we are going to continue my series on my narcissistic marriage, my road to recovery. And today's topic is cheating. If you want to know more about how he cheated and how I found out, stay tuned. We're back. My name is Dr. Marita P. I'm a registered nurse, and in this series we're talking about my narcissistic marriage. So I have been married for about going on 17 years. We have been, no, that's not true. I've been married going on 12 years. We've been together going on 17 years. And probably about 4 to 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I was able to discover that exactly what was wrong with my husband and that he was a narcissist. And I learned that because I started watching YouTube videos, and I watched several different people, and I'm like, wait a minute, everything they're talking about sounds exactly like my husband. I had said at one point in time that he needed a check, meaning like something's not right. He needed an SSI disability check because something is off with him. I never could pinpoint what it is and why he was so immature and things like that. Well, I finally figured it out after watching these videos. I'm like, that's what's wrong with him. Now, mind you, he's not being diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. That requires a diagnosis from a licensed person, a doctor who can do such. And so therefore, my findings are not based off of him being diagnosed. My findings are that he meet the criteria. There's like 9 criteria, and I think you have to meet like 5 of them. He meets all 9 of them. So therefore, I know if I could diagnose that he would have this disorder. But when it comes to cheating specifically, this is something that narcissists typically do. They typically lie, cheat, steal. They do whatever they need to do to get whatever they happen to need or want. It's never about the person. It's about what they can get from the person. And they tend to find people who are needy, people who are lonely, things like that. So, to be their supplier fuel. And we had been friends for a long period of time, and that's kind of how I came in. He knew my issues or my concerns. He knew that I was a single parent, and that's kind of how he came into my life, trying to be that stepfather, and played that role very well for those first 5 years, like I said. Now, when it comes to the cheating specifically, the red flags with that are simply what they are. They start with the lies, and he lies like no other. I mean, I tell people all the time that when it comes to lying, if he told you the sky was blue, you better get up and go check for yourself, because he probably lying about it. Something that you even know to be true, you still better go verify it, because he is probably lying about it. And typically people who cheat do lie, right? So when it comes to cheating, very early on, I remember being pregnant with, pregnant, I think with one of the sons. My son is 11, so probably with him. So what, 12 years ago at this point in time, which is when we got married, mind you. I remember his phone steadily ringing at nights, and he answering the phone. It's like, oh yeah, I can come meet you. And it'd be for work. Okay. And sometimes it would be for work. But there would be times where just things wasn't making quite sense. And I'm not a proponent of checking people's phones or whatever, but he had told me to go get his phone to do something with, to bring to him to work. And as I'm bringing him his phone, it's ringing. Or actually not ringing, it's alerting, because there's a text coming through. And this text was from a female. So no, I wasn't snooping per se, but since I was bringing him his phone and I had the phone, I discovered a lot of texts back and forth. And they were, I wouldn't say, it would be texts like, what are you doing? And, when do you work? Things like that. It wouldn't really have anything that would blatantly say he's cheating. But at the same time, if this is a friendship that you have, why would your wife not know about it? And why is this person disrespecting our marriage by texting you this late at night? Even though the context of the text was really meaningless, okay? But those types of things was occurring. Meaning that if the shoe was on the other foot, I know he would come unglued. If I had text coming in the middle of the night, he would become unglued So what would fit for him does not fit for me. So always a double standard with narcissist. So that was one thing. And I said, okay, do you not realize this is inappropriate? Oh, I don't mean nothing by it, this, that, and the other. And me being in my 20s at the time, I'm like, well, okay, he don't know. Give benefit of the doubt. Again, I will keep telling you the issues that I have and why I'm at fault for a lot of this stuff. Because I put up with it. That's why I'm at fault. I'm not saying he's okay for doing it. I'm saying because I put up with it. That makes me at fault for having to live like this for the next so many years. But because I actually have children by this person, I was trying to make this marriage work. And so that would be one example of, the cheating that he would do. The next one I found was, another job he had, and a female was going to call at 11:50 at night, and we were taking care of, I had the baby by then. And we were feeding the baby, and the person says, hey, my birthday's at midnight. You gonna call me after midnight, wish me a happy birthday? That's what she says. And mind you, he had her on speakerphone. So I heard all this. And he was just like, no, I'm not gonna call you after midnight. I'm not working today, type of thing. This is what he's saying on the phone. I said, do you not realize that this is not acceptable behavior? You don't do stuff like this. Oh, she's just somebody somebody I work with at work. She just a young girl, this, that, and the other. Well, you need to nip that. And he did, but the thing is, these are some of the, again, context clues that I had that, or maybe he didn't. I wouldn't know. But these were some of the context clues that I had that I'm like, okay, something is not right. He's cheating. He's definitely cheating. Well, this is early in our relationship and things like that. Now let's fast forward to the past, say 4 or 5 years or so. The cheating wouldn't be in the situation where I've caught him in the act of doing something sexual. I've never caught him in the act of doing anything like that. However, I will say there's a lot of things that don't add up completely. There's money that he's getting from somewhere that I know he hasn't got from our bank account. There is things that he is doing that makes no sense. There's gifts that he's getting that you couldn't get from anybody else unless it was another woman. I remember distinctly one day his car had got repossessed because he didn't pay the bill. And I knew he had got rides for work, and I didn't pay attention to who they were. Now, as a wife, if I was going to pick up another man, I would want to introduce myself to the wife. My name is Marita, and hey, I work with such and such, and I'm just coming to pick him up. Nice to meet you. I want you to know that, at least acknowledge that, you do exist. Well, it wasn't until my son, who was 5 at the time, my youngest son, who was 5 at the time, who said, there's a mama out there. Now, when he said there's a mama out there, he mean there's a woman out there. That's what I interpret that to mean from a 5-year-old. When he said there's a mama out there, I said, let me go look at this door. I go look outside, and sure enough, there's a woman picking him up. And it's the same vehicle that's been picking him up all the time. I just never knew who it was. Thought it was a guy, There's a mama out there. So you know what? So he's already gone, and I text him or whatever. So you know what? This is very inappropriate that you're getting picked up from another woman that I know nothing about, and on and on and on. And if the shoe's on your other foot, that you wouldn't like it. And he was like, well, she's gay. I'm like, I don't care what she is. That doesn't matter. This is inappropriate and disrespectful. And again, it may not have been blatant cheating, but it's something that would not be acceptable if I did it. Let a man come pick me up at my house, and he not know. I guarantee you is going to be hell to pay. That's another example. Now let's fast forward even more, because there's so many different times that he has that either text messages, phone calls. I've heard him talk on the phone to other females. Now, mind you, the conversation, he would sit there and talk in front of me, so it'd be kind of light, but it wouldn't be about work or anything like that. But the last thing he did, so before he discarded, before he abandoned us, shall I say, he had been gone. He would stay out till say 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. When he thought I was asleep at times, he would wait for me to go to sleep, and then he would slip out. And I happened to be up because I am a night owl anyway. So I'd be awake, and he would leave and not try to come back right before he thought I would wake up. So who does that? There was a time back in November, he said, oh, I'm just going to Taco Bell to get something to drink, and then be back. He don't come back for 2 to 3 hours later. Again, things just don't add up, okay? This last time when he finally decided that he was not going to be here at this house anymore, and he walked out on us, he had already left. He had come picked up his things. He had evidently found a place to stay because he has nowhere to stay. He doesn't make enough money to pay for anything. So he had to find another woman in order to, another supply. to be able to live with, because otherwise he wouldn't have nowhere to go and he wouldn't be readily ready to leave. So be mindful, he's sleeping somewhere. Well, lo and behold, my son, the boys, he FaceTimed the boys. And I heard a female in the background. I wasn't with them when they were FaceTiming, but I could hear the conversation back and forth. And I heard a female and I heard a dog, in the background. And so my son was excited that, to see their father on FaceTime and talk. So then I asked my son, one of them, I said, who was all on FaceTime with your dad? Oh, but daddy's new friend is what my son said. I said, oh, okay. So, she has a dog. Well, his new friend is not a friend like how you would think, like somebody you're just cool with. This is somebody and obviously because of how he left here, this is somebody he's been dealing with, shall I say, for a while now. This is not someone that he has been, he just met the day before. You could tell by the dynamic and the language they were using that this is someone he'd been with before. Well, I said, okay, that's very disrespectful. Not to the boys. I didn't say this to the boys, but that's very disrespectful to me. But again, why would he respect me anyway? Because he's the one who's abusing us. With that being said, then he also went on to, we were texting back and forth regarding the boys. And I said, you still have a responsibility to the boys to take care of them, regardless if we're married or not, because legally they're still yours. You take care of them. And I said, and you're still married. So therefore you have a responsibility to help take care of things in this household. I don't care if you've moved out. And I got a long text. First he said, okay. And then I get a text back. And the text back was a very long text. And it made no sense at all because I could tell with the emotion that a woman wrote it. Now, the woman I thought was his sister initially. Until I met, well, it's not that I met, until I heard about the FaceTime with that female. She's the one who sent that text. I know his language. I know what words he used and don't use. And I knew that wasn't him saying what was in that text. So now he has women texting in his behalf, or a woman texting in his behalf. And I'm more than happy that they're together, because that relieves me from, I wish her the best luck with him, because she's going to end up getting hurt in the end. And I'd hate it for her. But the thing is, it's one of those things like, who is out of my way now? I don't have to deal with that. But narcissists always cheat. It does not have to be necessarily in a sexual way, but they're always doing something that is inappropriate. And I can't attest to whether his was sexual or non-sexual, but I can tell you for a fact that he is cheating at some capacity. Even an emotional affair is still cheating, right? So, or even if you are, the way I look at it is, if you're doing something that the spouse doesn't know anything about, and that they can't know anything about, and that you would frown upon if they did it, then you're cheating. So I don't care if you're sending text to someone, hey, how's your day going? Well, unless your spouse knows about it, that's cheating, okay? Because you don't do things like that without your spouse knowing about it if you are truly in a true marriage that's not open. That both parties agree that it's open, shall I say. Both people in the marriage. So I have dealt with his cheating ways for pretty much the very beginning of the relationship, but of course I didn't know it, and again I chose to, I did know it. I just chopped it into he didn't know any better, because he was we were so young, and he was so simple-minded that he didn't know that he shouldn't be texting someone when we're in a relationship or something like that. So that is my fault. I have to admit to that. But this is how these videos are how I'm learning and how I'm growing personally. So I'm not putting the 100% of the blame on him. I am putting the narcissistic behavior on him, but I'm putting my responsibility in the fact that I accepted things that I should never accepted to begin with, and we would have never got here. So we would have eliminated this much sooner, is what I'm saying. So be mindful that, again, they cheat, they lie, they steal, they do everything they shouldn't be doing, and you're the one who's gonna have to pay for it. So definitely, if you have someone who is, you're kind of questioning some things that they do, questioning some things that they say, I'm not telling you to go snoop at all. I'm just saying, if you have intuition or a gut feeling, trust it. That's what I'm saying. And what you choose to do about it is up to you. If you choose to stay, you choose to stay. If you choose to go, you choose to go. For me personally, you can't have a marriage without trust. And if you're cheating, you can't trust them. If you are lying, you can't trust them. And if you're stealing, you can't trust them. Trust is a foundation. And of course you can't, eventually you're not going to love someone who always hurts you. And keep in mind too, if it is a sexual cheating and you are still intimate with your spouse, whether you're male or female, or two females or two males, the risk of STDs is pretty serious. And as a nurse, I'm going to have to tell you, the risk for STDs is pretty serious. So you have to make sure you get checked and make sure that you are clean, because they will bring you diseases. And now this hasn't happened to me, but as a registered nurse who happens to do OB nursing, I've seen plenty of women who are having babies who end up with an STD that their husband provided to them because he was cheating. And it had nothing to do with narcissism, but it was just the fact that he was cheating. You can be a cheater and not be a narcissist. There's just people like that. But you can be a narcissist and usually you're a cheater too. So get yourself checked. Make sure that you're, using protection if you're going to continue to engage in intercourse with these people. But definitely, try to find value within yourself and say, you know what? If my husband or wife, it depends on who you're with, is not going to respect our marriage, not respect my body or his or hers, then they don't deserve my body, because I value my body. And I'm not going to have STDs because they choose to go around. And mind you, typically narcissists have multiple people that they're involved with. Now, and they have them for different reasons. So some of it's sexual, some of it's money, some of it's housing, some of it's food, some of it's whatever it happens to be. But they are always involved with somebody for a reason that meets their needs. Okay, so keep in mind, or maybe they may be using sex as an exchange for something. So maybe they may, that's just their way of paying people back. Drugs, even, people do things like that. So be mindful of that. That is pretty typical of these kind of people. Do not get caught up in stuff like that. Hopefully you have found this video insightful. I'm sharing with you my experiences as being a spouse of a narcissist, and I'm also discussing my road to recovery. I'm doing that through these videos so I can share with you what I've endured over the past 17 years and how today I'm trying to recover from it and get better from it, and how to help someone else hopefully do the same. I'm hoping that you all are able to definitely move past whatever you have going on. See the red flags for what they are in your significant other or the person who's a narcissist in your life. I keep saying my marriage because that is who I was married to, but narcissists can be bosses, it can be in the workplace, and it can be also family members as well. So whoever your narcissist happens to be, signal those red flags. Now, mind you, cheating is not an issue for a boss because that you don't have that kind of relationship. Hopefully not. And it's not an issue for a family member because you don't have that kind of relationship. But in a marriage or even a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, period, you do kind of have that dynamic where cheating is an issue. So definitely kind of govern yourselves accordingly, and definitely keep yourself tested for whatever STD. Wear protection at all times if you're still going to engage in intercourse with that person. But yes, this is my narcissistic marriage, and this is my journey to recovery. If you want my road to recovery, if you want to connect with me on my social media, my IG, the banner, or not the banner, but the handle will be at the top here or here. My IG is actually in the banner as well up there, and I'll also have it in the description box below. Go follow me on IG. I just graduated from my DNP program. If you're seeing this around June 20th, 21st, of 2020, I just graduated. Graduation's linked to the on the channel now. This has been one of those things where I've actually endured all this while going through school. I have went through 4 different degrees, or 3 different degrees, or 4 different degrees with this narcissist. 3 of them. No, 3 degrees with this narcissist. I finished nursing school with him. I finished my master's with him, and I mean, he's not physically here, but I'm still married to him during my process of getting my DNP. So I endured all that and still made it through school somehow, some way. I'm so grateful for that. So anyway, there's plenty on this channel. This is primarily a nursing channel. However, this is my new series on this channel. So definitely watch things like this if this happens to interest you. Everything in my life is not great, and I'm definitely chronicling that here, showing you that here. But there's plenty of nursing content over there if you want. I will continue the nursing content. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Let's chat in the comments. Until the next time, take care. Bye-bye.